Hello again for the continuation of this video on the alignment process of my FT-817. So I left on the previous video right here before the RX adjustments start. So I wish to go through the RX adjustments today. So it's going to be this page, and then we've got the coupler, and there are the software adjustments up to here. So for this step, it says that the PA must be connected during RX adjustments. And this is the intro. Yeah, okay. The first for the setup for these adjustments is we want to connect a silent meter on the speaker jack, and I've got the speaker jack here, which is connected to the audio input in the Marconi, where I can get the silent reading. Then we need a voltmeter, which is that one, which will read the voltage on pin 15 of connector J1008. So the connector J1008 is this connector here, and the pin 15 it happens to go on a test point, exactly test point 1088, which is this one here. This one here. So then we will have to inject a 40 dB microvolt from the generator at frequency of 51995 in SSP and adjust these two coils, 33 and 29, alternately for minimum indication of on the voltmeter. The two coils are these two down here, 33 and 29, which are these two here, close to the filters. Okay, 33, 29. So we set the signal, we read the voltage, and try. Actually, I will go through the step with you, but I have already checked that it is already at the right spot. So I'll just pretend I'm doing it. So probing the test point here, 1088, sending the signal and checking the DC volt, and tuning 33 and 29 for minimum indication. Let's cross check. Okay, here it's rising. It was 36. Here's rising again. So as you can see, it was already at the minimum. And 29. There you go, it's rising. Back to 40. And it's rising again. 38, okay. So that's the best we can do. Okay. Now select FM, switch off the generator, and adjust 34 for maximum indication on the voltmeter. So first of all, we switch off the gen, set FM, and where is 1034? 1034. It's this one here. It's this one here. Just the one on the right, just on top of the three filters. So it's this one here. So the gen is off. We probe on FM. and 1034, 116. Okay, so here we are at the maximum. Yeah, it's not critical, but it's not that critical, but it's jumping around, so we are happy with this value here, 16.7, that's fine, 16.4, 16.8. Okay, FM chain adjustment for the coils for the intermediate frequency of the transformers. We've got 51995, same frequency, 10 dB microfault. This time is FM modulated at 1 kilohertz with 3.5 deviation. So we've got 51995, 51995 max, 10 dB microvolt. The modulation will be 3.5 kilohertz deviation with a frequency of 1 kilohertz. So we're all set. We switch off the modulation and we switch on the modulation and switch on the generator. We've got the signal there, and what we want us to do is to adjust 23, 25, 28, 30, 34 for the best SINET. So we activate the SINET, and which is here, 36.7, 36.6 now, and we've got many coils this time, 23, 25, 28, 30, 34. Okay, 34 is the same as this one, so I'm not touching it. 23, 25, 28, 30. Let's see where they are. So here they are, 23, 25, 28, 30. So this is the PLL unit. So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, and 4. So once again, I have adjusted already this before I shot this second video. So I'm not gonna do it again, but basically you get the screwdriver, and we don't need the voltmeter now. We need to check the SINET. So we are sending already the signal, 1 kilohertz tone, and at this point we want to move back and forth on these 4 coils, like this one, and then we adjust this one, and then we adjust this one, back and forth, and until we get the highest value. Obviously this value is dancing a bit up and down, so you have to move it quick and see the tendency, or look at the bar. Okay, I'm already peaked here, so no need to do it again. On the VHF path, we connect the voltmeter again on the same testing point, which we used just now, 1088, and tune a transceiver. This time 145.995 with 40 dB microvolt. So frequency will be 145.995 and 40 dB microvolt. Just the carrier, and then we adjust coil 2, 4, and 8 for minimum indication. So we go back on USB. We go on 145.995. USB. This time we need the multimeter again. And where are those coils? So 2, 4, and 8. So 2, 4, and 8. If I'm not wrong, 4, 8, and 2. So those 3, 2, 4, 8, which are on this group in the center, just closed, starting from this trimmer cap. So we are obviously here. Two, 4, 8. Okay, and yeah, once again, you take the multimeter, you send the signal, you probe the point, you read the voltage, and you play a little bit with 1, 2, and 3, those 3 coils to get the minimum indication. Okay, once you have done that, you're good with the VHF. You can do the same for the UHF path. It's the very same thing. You just need to change the frequency 43995 and adjust this time TC1001 for minimum indication. The 1001 is very close to there as the trim cap I just mentioned, TC1001. So it is this trim cap here, okay? And you repeat the very same thing, okay? I'm not gonna do it because it's just the same thing. Once we have done that, the next step will be to tune the wide FM, which obviously is in the 88 megahertz and above segments. In fact, we connect the standard meter again. So in my case, the Marconi tuner transceiver to 88 megahertz. So we go on 88 megahertz wide FM. Inject 30 dB microvolt, modulated in FM, 1 kilohertz tone. This time the deviation is 22.5. So you go on your generator, 88 megs. The level will be 30 dB microvolt. And the modulation frequency this time is 22.5 kilohertz with a 1 kilohertz tone. Okay. And we want to adjust TC1003 for the best synod. And TC1003. And then it says to reduce the output of the signal gen and adjust again, as minor improvements can be difficult to observe if the synod reading is too high. But basically, TC1003 is this one here at the top. Sorry for the shaky camera. TC103 is this one here. Okay. So you go here, and the rear part of the radio is this one here in white. This one here in white. Okay, I have done this step as well. Yesterday I continued on checking the radio without filming, but I'm gonna guide you anyway through the steps. So 88 megs, can take the gen on, the frequency, the modulation on. You can hear the tone very well, and the synod I'm having is 51.5. And basically, you take a small screwdriver, you go in here in the trim cap for the best synod. And once you found the best synod, you're done with this step. So we switch that off, and that's another step done. One thing worth mentioning on these adjustments is that you are here when you reach this point. It says it's VHF band alignment and UHF band alignment. So you might think to go on FM, whereas in fact you stay in SSB. You go on FM just for this step. For the rest, he got 3 in SSB. So I went on USB for this one, on 6 meters, this one, and this one. This obviously is in wide FM. Now the next one is image rejection, for the rejection of the image frequency. and it says to connect the speaker to the audio millivolt meter, tune transceiver 51995 CW, and inject a signal at 70 dB micro on the frequency of the first IF. So now for this step, I was figuring out how the circuitry works, and the 817 has got a mixer, the first mixer with a local oscillator signal, which is higher than the input frequency. So the first local oscillator will oscillate between 68430 and 538.330. Okay, so the two signals mix together to give all the intermodulation products, and we select the first IF being 68 MHz 0.33, and there's a 15 kilohertz bandwidth filter, crystal filter, named XF 1001. So the local oscillator is higher in this case, and for the HF and 50 meg portion, we can tune between 100 kilohertz and 56 megahertz, varying the as we said, starting from 6843 up to 124.33 megs, varying the first LO. So for 51995, for example, the frequency that we are tuning here in this step, we've got the LO at 120.325 to give the first IF. So the first image frequency should in fact be the 2 times the first IF. Oh, let me do it this way. 51.995 plus 2 times the first IF. So the image frequency should be 188.655. But in this test, we are injecting the exactly the IF, the first IF. So we are entering with the exact first IF frequency. Okay. Not sure why, but this is how the test is conducted. And we've got the Marconi 683370 dB microvolts, the radius tuned at 51995, so we know that the LO is producing 120.325, and then we inject and adjust T14 for minimum indication, and then it says to increase the output level of the generator to and adjust again just to get the maximum and show maximum rejection. So the coil is, if I'm not wrong, is this one here. Let me just cross check. Yeah, so Tango 1014. Okay. So yeah, it's this one here. This one here. And let's see what we get. We got the audio connected to the audio input. We send the signal, and we can monitor the AF level on this column and this indicator. The column perhaps is better for visualizing movements. Okay, 6833 megahertz, 70 dB, and we're getting about 110 millivolts, 115 about there. So let's move the coil. I have detuned the coil on purpose just to get the coil to have effect, and demonstrate this step. Let me get down the volume of the radio. It's a bit higher, so don't get misled by the rise in volume. It's because the Marconi changed its internal auto ranging, but we're getting now 70, about 70 millivolts. about 50. There you go. Well, basically the coil must be all the way in order to get the best rejection. Okay, I want to to go a bit deeper into this step, the image rejection trap adjustment, and looking at the circuitry description, it says that the signal, it comes into the main board via the connector J2, the J3002, and it gets into a 10 dB attenuator, which is a T configuration, which I just double checked. We can see it here. The signal get into the main board here with the RX, and then it gets divided, depending on the path. It goes up to here, where these two switching diodes are selecting a through path or this path. We can see the T attenuator here, and we've got 27, 27, and 33, which I just double checked, and in fact it gives 10.5 dB of attenuation. I have verified that with the signal generator, and it's okay. And then continuing reading, it says then basically the first mixer and the main unit consists of D1047, which gets the first low coming from the PLL applied to the gates, and the output passes through the crystal filter, the 15 kilohertz filter, XF 1001, to obtain the 6833 first IF. And then it's fed to the second mixer, blah blah. So basically, after, if we follow along, we get into here. This is the first mixer, D1047, and then it reaches the crystal filter, XF 1001, which the mixer is on the underside, on side B of the board. That's under the bottom side of the board. The crystal filter is this one here, and this is the coil 1014, which should block the 6833, and is this coil here. We got an a parallel LC circuit. I got these two fixed capacitors, and this variable inductor 1014. So it should work as a should present as we tune the coil, the high impedance at the 68.33 megahertz. So we are basically sending a signal at 68.33, and we are entering the mixer with the LO frequency of 120.325. So the subtraction will be 120.325 minus the signal we are sending will be 51995. So that's why we tune 51995. We can see how the circuit performs, how well the circuit performs, and we can tune the coil to reject this this frequency of the spectrum, and that's what I have done. We've got the minimum output out of the speaker. So we can move on now. Go into the noise blanket adjustment, where we want to connect the DC voltmeter to the base of 1074 and tune transceiver same frequency, inject 6 dB microvolt, activate the noise blanket, and adjust 1027 for minimum indication on the DC voltmeter. So 1020, the base of Q 1074, which is this one here. They put here base, this transistor. You don't need to go, actually, you don't need to go to the base. You can go on test point 1087. Okay, that's connected to the base. I can show you here, just next to these two capacitors. So these are the two electrolytic capacitors. This is Q1074. This is the base. This is the base, and we can, if you follow along, we see that we got this test point here, which we can use for the voltmeter. Same frequency. We're gonna get here. We're gonna go on 51995. Get a level of 6 dB microvolts. Okay, and then we use the DC voltmeter. And the coil 1027 is this one here, just beneath, beside the transistor. This coil here. On the schematic, we were just here, and now the transistor Q1074 is this one. This one here, as you can see on the base, we've got the test point 1087, and the coil to adjust is 1027 is this one here. In description, once again, is saying that a sample of the second IF circuit is amplified by FET Q1052 and 1061 on the main unit, and then are rectified by this diode. Well, in fact, we have here we've got the first conversion, then we've got the first IF, which gets to here, gets amplified here, and then gets mixed with the second LO to get the second IF 455 kilohertz. And this node is the sample for the noise blanker, which, if we follow along, it goes to here, to 1027, the coil we need to adjust, and then amplified by 1052 and 1061, and rectified by diode 1068. So this is 1052 and this is 1061, which are amplifying, and then we should have the diode somewhere 1068, which then goes to the base where we are going to probe with DC voltmeter. Okay, so I'm trying to understand, because the dam adjustment is not really, doesn't make sense to me, because here it says to activate the noise blanker and adjust tangle 27 for minimum indication. But if I do that, basically I should unscrew, to go towards minimum, I should unscrew all the core of the coil. So actually what I get is a peak, not a valley. And as I move away from the peak, and in fact it was before I touched the coil, because I suppose the coil is already tuned in the factory. I guess nobody touched it. I'm just checking now and going through the steps with for you if somebody is interested in realignment. But I suppose it's fine, my units. So as I moved away from the present position of the coil, I got a voltage descending either way. So find the minimum doesn't look good. So trying to understand here about the circuitry, we are probing here on the base of this transistor. And in fact, I think they made another mistake here, and as you can see here on the board layout, we have the transistor, and this is the base, and this is the test point, and then we've got this test point here just on top of it, 1086. which comes from the other side of the board. But 1086, if we go have a look, 1086, if you go and have a look, it happens to be this one here, which is the collector of this NPN, same as 1072, but 1072 I don't see it on the board, while 1086 is just next to 1087. So I'm talking about this one here, 1087 and 1086. So if we activate the noise blanker, well, first of all, we have on this collector, on this line, coming from through this resistor, we've got a 6-volt line. Okay, so let's check that. Now, the noise blanker is out. Let's put it out. Let's activate the signal gen. We've got the signal gen activated, and let's check this voltage. Should be around 6 volts on 1086. I've got 6.6 volts, so we've got that 6 volts. Now let me reposition the camera because I need 2 hands. Okay, hopefully I can get into the shot. So the signal is going from the generator. If I probe, a lot of wiring around. If I probe, let me get rid of the sound, we don't need it. If I probe now on 1087, where we got the 6 volt line, making sure I don't short it out. We got the 6 volts. Now if I switch on the noise blanker, got voltage drop down to 4.1-ish. And as I tune the coil T27, the one they want us to tune, from 411, if I move clockwise, counterclockwise, I got a rise. I go back to 411 and move to clockwise, I got another rise. So here we can find the minimum, as they say. So they made another mistake there, for sure. And if I show you the base of the transistor, if I probe there, I've got actually I've got 167. As I move the coil, you will see that I got a descent of the voltage, either way, clockwise, counterclockwise, and clockwise. So you can clearly see that we've got a drop. So if we follow the instructions, and we wanna test on the base of Q of the transistor, we want to look for a maximum, not a minimum. So 1674645. Yeah, there you go. And if we look at the other test points, we can look for the minimum, which was about 411, as I remember. Well, anyway, whatever it is, 413 now. There you go. So yeah, just worth noting for, yeah, because it's difficult. It's been difficult for me many times in this case, and for another radio I have as well, the FT-1000. It's been very difficult to follow the service manual, as I came across so many errors. Now going one step back, I was looking around for another matter, and I came across this article from an Italian amateur radio operator, and it's talking about the noise blanker. Well, basically, what I have found is here's the circuit that we have seen before in the video, and what I have found is that is basically informing everyone that the same thing that I found out, i.e. the fact that the service manual here is in Italian. Well, basically saying that the service manual is saying to adjust for minimum indication on the voltmeter, but actually you have to adjust for maximum voltage on the Q1074 base. So it's basically saying that that is wrong. And then talking about the noise blanker circuit, it looks like on some occasions, some radios may work well, on some other radios may not work well. I have experience with my radio, with my YAESU FT-817ND, trying to send a pulsating noise, like ignition, car ignition for example. I have experienced that the noise blanker is not effective in cancelling that out. So continuing the reading, it says that this could happen and how you could cure the problem. And somewhere is saying that you should have at least, I think it's here. You should have at least 500 millivolts. Whereas in my case I have 167 millivolts. Somewhere is saying, here you go. Here is saying that if you measure the voltage on the base of Q1074, if you got a voltage about 100 to 200 millivolt, then this voltage is too low for making the transistor being polarized. So the NB will not work at all. And in my case, I have 167 millivolts. If you go back on the video, so probably that explains why my noise blanker was not effective on the pulsating noise that I sent. So I might have a look into it and try one of these options to solve the problem. But that maybe will be another video, not just now. Now here, the next step is the coupler adjustment for reading the SWR and for sending a signal back for the protection in case of a high SWR. The radio will limit the output power. So here as well, there are some errors. I'm not going through. I'm going to do the real process of calibration because we are now in the PA unit, and the PA unit is kind of shielded by an adhesive shielding, which it's not working very much in my case anyway, because it lost the glue, but it's on the other side. I just want to point out what the errors are, so bear with me a second. Okay, this is very interesting one. So they say terminate the antenna jack, okay, with a 50 ohm dummy load, set the radio on CW and connect a DC voltmeter to pin 7 of connector J3004 and tune on 21 megs, hit the transceiver, and then adjust DC 3003 for minimum indication DC voltmeter. Okay, and then you do the same for the 2 meter band and for UHF. Okay, just use a different adjustment point. So I have flipped the radio. I decided to take the screen off because it was not making a very good contact anyway. So I'll have to figure out some sort of way to make it sticky and conductive and get the connection with the chassis. Anyway, so this is the PA unit. This is the final unit. These are the finals. In my case are D07, but anyway, the connector they talk about J3004 is this one here, this one with the flat cable. Okay, so we've got 5 pins on this side and some other pins on the other side. If you look here, look what they say, J3004, and they indicate pin 7 being this one here. Okay, so what you think is to get into there, just let me get the light. You might think to get into there, get on the first pin there, okay, with the DC voltmeter, like this. Let's say like this. Okay, the radio is off, okay. Like this, you might think, okay. But actually, if we look at the schematic, this is the connector J3004. Pin 7 is indeed the reflected power, so that's correct. If we follow along, we've got test point 3001. So where's this test point? So if we get the layout, you see, this is the connector J3004, and they indicate this pin, but look where the test point is. Test point 3001 is here, is visible. You don't need to go beneath the flat cable, and the pin is this one, not that one. So they are pointing the wrong pin, okay? And in fact, if we look here on the board, you can clearly see that, let me get the right illumination. You can clearly see that we've got the test point there, that one, and we've got label rev, fair enough, and it's obviously going into that pin there. So that's the points you want to put your DC voltmeter on when you make the adjustment, okay? And the what is the adjustment point? So for the HF as TC3003, which is this one here. And then we've got VHF is 1 and UHF is 2. So we've got HF, VHF, UHF. So HF on 21 max, VHF, UHF. And you want to get the probably the test point there, the minimum indication on the DC voltmeter. If you got a good 50 ohm load, as you transmit, you should get also the no indication on the SWR meter. Okay, so we are on the first adjustment for the 21 meg, and we put the multimeter probing the voltage here for the reverse power. And well, basically we adjust the first on the top. We transmit, we have full power, we transmit on CW, and read the voltage. The voltage is very low. The indication on the radio is perfect, got 5 millivolts. So this is okay. Moving to the next frequency for VHF. I'm now on 145995 and key down on CW at full power. And we've got basically 0. Now what I have noticed, there you go. You see, we've got now 382 millivolts. So I'm experiencing an issue where the voltage starts at low value. The TC1 is already fixed for minimum voltage indication. But what I experience on VHF is that you start transmitting, you got good value, and then I'm transmitting, then you got suddenly rise. And I'll show you what the radio is doing on the front panel, reminding you that we are terminated into 50 ohm. As I transmit, look what I get on the SWR meter of the radio. I transmit. It looks okay. And then suddenly you got a rise in SWR indication. It's quite high, and this in turn produces reduction in output power, obviously, because the radio now protects itself. There you go. Power dropped to 3.6. What I found is that if I mess around this area, with this shielding in my hand, I can get a change in this behavior. Where I can get let me get this into the shot. Okay, now you can see the SWR meter, and I'm transmitting now. There you go. There's a mess around. So there's obviously there's some sort of issue. If you go on lower power, it's not really happening. This is now 2.5 watts. Only on the maximum power. So I have tried to locate the problem, what the problem was, and after many times spent, I suspect that that's an issue with the two MOSFET final MOSFET transistors, where there's an auto oscillation, which could potentially damage the transistor. So the transistors, and I'll show you what I found on the internet as well. So as I said, after after observation of the problem, trying to locate some area that could if I would mess around could have an impact on this SWR indication, and it took me a while, but in the end I have located the problem in the area of the final unit, as I just said. And then I came across this article on the internet, which talks about final amplifier self-oscillation problem, and the way this guy cured it. So he's got the RD07 like mine's, and it looks, looking at this article, it looks like it looks really like a self-oscillation problem. So what he did to cure this problem, because I'm saying this because he's got the same symptoms that I had. So he was convinced there was self-oscillation, and this phenomenon occurred when the rig was hot, and in fact after a few transmissions. And in fact, when I transmit and the radio is cold, I don't have the problem. He's got the SWR indication already. He probably has got a worse situation than mine. I don't have the high SWR indication, but the symptoms are those ones. And the parasitic power appeared as reflected power to the rig. Power indication showed fluctuation instability. But in my case, it's not unstable, but it's stable, but it's reduced obviously because of the reverse voltage sensed. And he blew various pairs of MOSFETs. But I'm lucky that mines are still there, because I don't want to replace them, hopefully. So I believe this is the same. Mine is the same problem as this guy had. So he cured the problem. This is the final unit schematic. He cured the problem, putting two low-value resistors in series with the coax, bringing the signal input, and basically in here. I'll show you on the radio. So I will try this modification. I'll try this modification definitely, because obviously the radio is not working well like this. Well, I discovered this problem just now during going through the alignment steps. I didn't know about that actually. So what he did is this is the final unit, and he went to put two resistors in series on this input side, okay, of the MOSFETs. So he said about between 6 and 22 ohms, whatever works for you. So I will go on and do this mode later on, not just now. For now, I'm happy to have found the problem, at least to have focus on what the problem might be, and I'll try on another video. I'll make another video with few modifications for this radio, like the AGC mode, the noise blanker mode, and this mode for the self-oscillation problem. But moving on, the third step will be the adjustments for UHF band. Okay, 439.995 now, CW, probing the reverse voltage line once again, and full power transmit. I have no indication on the SWR meter of the radio. I've got 17 millivolts, 4.2 watts out of the radio. And I have found that the self-oscillation issue is only happening on VHF. Now I will check better, but you see that the voltage is rising a bit. The power is 4 watts. And maybe the issue is also a little bit on UHF. Sending now half of the power. Got 2 watts. I don't want to stress the finals. Okay, so yeah, basically you go in here on the last trimming cap, and you check it for the lower indication. And here's a rise. Here's another rise. So it was already there. It's already there. Okay. Okay. So apart from the issue on VHF, that is all done now. I'll just go through once again. Let me see on HF, full power. So no issue there. Let's go on 6 meters. It's okay. We got the power. Let's pass through. Let's pass through 2 meters and see what happens. There you go. We've got pretty much immediately. You see? No, not immediately this time. The shielding has got an influence anyway on the probably because of the magnetic fields that builds up around. Anyway, I don't want to force transistors. If we've got UHF, it's fine. We've got the power, so yeah. So I just need to solve the self-oscillation problem on 2 meters. And I would say that on this step, the coupler adjustment, we are done with the hardware adjustments. The next chapter will be software menu alignment. That will be a third video. So stay tuned and for the next video, next and final video, I guess. Thank you for watching anyway, 7-3.